Also still to come, an update on the roads with Dave Llewellyn. But first, it's 27 years to the month since his death, and now a local author has written a book about his short yet very violent life.
It was just this name, I'd never ever seen him, but everybody spoke of this man. He was this character you couldn't escape.
Jamie Boyle is based in North Yorkshire. His passion is true crime, and he's no stranger to writing about hardened criminals. He grew up in Middlesbrough at the height of Lee Duffy's reign on Teesside. The boxer-turned-bouncer became one of the most feared men in the northeast over an 8-year period. That was back in the late 80s and 90s. He was stabbed during a fight in the town back in 1991, and he died from his injuries at the age of 26. Jamie told us his latest book, Lee Duffy, The Whole of the Moon, takes a look at what he was really like and what drove him to become one of the most feared men in the UK.
I grew up, I've heard all the stories, and, regardless, it's part of the history of Middlesbrough, and obviously I took a lot of abuse for doing this, which I expected, but he kind of burst on the scene in Middlesbrough when he was 17, 18. He was just a young boy, and, people said, you epitomised it. I think that was evil. Some people I met have cried in front of me and said, they loved him, there was a different side to him. But I wanted to kind of, dig a bit deeper, and obviously we've heard all the stories about Lee Duffy, the bully, but not many people don't realise he was actually really, really bullied to a really bad degree as a child, and that obviously stayed with him in his life right the way to his dying day.
Is there anything you found out in your research for this book that's really shocked you?
A lot of people say you reap what you sow, and, what goes around comes around. The end of his life, I don't think anybody deserves to die like the way he did. He had this attitude of, I don't care whether I die tomorrow. He used to say to a lot of people, you can put this in the book when I'm gone. He used to talk about his own death all the time. He knew he wasn't going to be here long. One guy described him in the book, and I think this pretty sums him up well, like a stallion who just couldn't put his saddle on. And if he'd still been here in his 50s, he'd have still been the same way. I haven't glamorised him in the book, and I haven't slated a dead man who's no longer here. But he was just this crazy one-off character, and he had these certain ways around him. He used to walk in the pub, and I think someone described him, I've never seen it since, said he had a bow wave, that the room would just completely open up, and he was just this crazy one-off, and, people have said he was the tornado of Teesside, and for right or wrong, he's certainly left a mark on the town.
You must understand, though, why some people might be going, why are you writing about him?
Yeah, I had it with the Paul Sykes books. There's a guy in the book, Lee actually broke his neck. I can't mask paper up the cracks. He did some wicked, awful things. It's, why does true crime sell? Everybody loves the true crime. Waterstones have said to me, they've said, we've never known a book like this. People going in their dozens on a daily basis just saying, I've got to read this book. Yes, people have said, why are you doing this book? You shouldn't be doing it. But also people have said this book is a long, long time overdue. Maybe if I'd have been 15 years old and I was in Teesside at Lee Duffy's reign, would I have liked it if I'd have been around then? Probably not. Would I have found him interesting? Absolutely.
Well, the book Lee Duffy, The Whole of the Moon, is out now, and Jamie is donating the proceeds from the sales of that book to the charity Scope.
Incredible insight.